As we're approaching about 7 o'clock here in Florida, we just had a thunderstorm. That's east there. That storm is now heading north. You still see kind of the tail end of those black clouds that were just over here rumbling up. No lightning, but some thunder. And starting to look, this is looking south, and then currently there's the sun. The sun would be right up in there. Now what happened, I mean, it's very, very typical this time of year in Florida. You can see those when you get those upper atmosphere high clouds, what it'll do is that if those high clouds are coming in from, let's say, over the Gulf of Mexico, or coming in the reverse way from the Atlantic, as they come in, the upper atmosphere high clouds start then gaining some energy, because once the clouds come over land, there's a lot of water sources in Florida. Other than the fact that we're surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean on one side and the Gulf of Mexico on the other. Once you come inland, there's a lot of, lakes and rivers, Lake Okeechobee, the Everglades, and not only that, lots of rivers inland. So what'll happen is those clouds in the upper atmosphere, which the weather is a lot cooler, and you can see, this is a good example. If you look at underneath the corona of the sun there, you can see those black clouds that can be, just 15 minutes ago, you could not see the sun. And you can still see traces of that energy. Those black clouds are actually water vapor that was being pulled up by the different, water sources inland here in Florida. Because I'm more in Central Florida, although I used to live down in Tampa. So there's your sun as it's going to start heading west, eventually making sunset in the Gulf of Mexico. Now I'm going to go down to the Tampa Bay area, film a few sunsets. Again, for anybody interested in Florida, what it looks like. Here's my evening sky at about 7 o'clock. And that's the one area I still see. Well, you still see the high clouds with some of the lower clouds, but I mean, right in there, especially where the sun is, you can see those bands. And very strange sky. I mean, looking north, I mean, whatever weather pattern, came over me about 15 minutes ago, it obviously headed north. If you start looking east, where the sun is. Now, there's a couple reasons I want to go down to Tampa. First of all, I lived there many years. I wish I'd still be living down there. Central Florida is not quite as fun, but I want to get some sunsets, which are marvelous. The sun, as it goes over the curve, will dip down into the Gulf of Mexico, and then the sun here in Florida, especially in the Gulf of Mexico, I don't know what happens, but if I probably zoom in on that sun, you'll see you can see the corona. You see the outer ring, which is kind of yellowish, but it'll turn more to like a red color, especially as it completely goes over the curve heading towards Texas and the Gulf of Mexico. You'll get this red glare. So I want to film that, and also want to go ahead and take a ride using a dash cam to go over the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. Now, for flat earthers saying that the earth is flat, everything is level. Well, level, first of all, means perpendicular to the liquid curvature of the earth. Anyway, 1940s, the original Sunshine Skyway Bridge was built. 1980, it was hit by a cargo ship taking it down, which was tragic. 35 people died, well before my time. New Sunshine Skyway Bridge construction started in 1984, was completed in 1987, spans 14 miles over Tampa Bay, connecting Pinellas County and St. Pete over to Manatee County, which is a 14-mile span. The actual suspension bridge itself is about 5 miles. But the good thing about this is I accidentally ran into this. There are a lot of people saying, surveyors don't measure for curvature. Airplanes, air pilots don't measure for any type of curvature. Well, I was watching a documentary on YouTube about the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, and then I kind of said, "Are you kidding me?" And then immediately, looked it up. The designers, the people that designed the new bridge, the architects, okay, once they were done building the bridge, it was then going to be maintained by the Florida Department of Transportation, which the architect and the designer of the new Sunshine Skyway Bridge, he says it in the documentary, and also there's like a 90-page PDF file where it's on public records, the actual architect and designs of the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, taking into account the curvature of the earth. You can even, because I've seen Angels of Light, for example, use AI. Just ask AI. Anybody that's not familiar with the Sunshine Skyway, just ask AI, is the new Sunshine Skyway Bridge that was completed in 1987 in the Tampa Bay area, did the architect or designers include curvature in the design of the new bridge? And of course it's going to tell you yes. And then if you then go to Wikipedia, and I think that's how I found it down at the external links, you can then, I think it'll have a link to Florida Department of Transportation, and then you can find the 90-page PDF file, which has, for anybody that can, I'm not a surveyor, so I can't read all the, illustrations, but you can actually get the actual sketches and designs for the Skyway Bridge, but it does include curvature. The builder, the people that built the bridge, admitted it in a documentary that, as they were building the bridge back in the 80s, even admitted it. Over a 14-mile span, you have to take into consideration curvature. Now, I'm going to go ahead and zoom. See if I can get a better... Nope, I'm going out. I wanted to see if I can zoom in on the sun a little bit. Just to see, I'll get about 15 times in. If I zoom in, that's what we're looking at with the sun right now. It's kind of cool. It'd be better if I were down at the beach. But just 30 minutes ago, you couldn't even see the sun. It's all just because of the rain. So that's on its way to the beaches on the west coast. There we go. I'm new with this camera here. Plus, I'm not just I'm not a expertise when it comes to using the cameras. But okay, that's just my regular no zoom in. That's how the sun looks. And you see those upper atmosphere clouds still with the lower dark ones that cause the thunderstorms.